Alright, so hey, if you could stop playing for the moment, and this is you later. So first thing we talked about, let's just decide you're going to learn the names of the open strings at some point, but who cares? If you want to stop and do that now, go ahead. Come up with a mnemonic device. It can be like every apple does good business everywhere, whatever. You know, like just give
That's a pretty good one.
Like whatever. So, but that's the more important on the next, and then the stuff up on the top line, I was just explaining tablature to you, like this number on this string means that.
Yeah.
Cool. So then under landmarks on the third line down, I wrote like the third fret was G and C. Then I'll write it up above the letter so it's more legible here. Then the fifth fret we've got A and D. And just from having seen what we went through, we're just gonna stop there. And then what I wrote over in the margin is like it's a geography test. So the key step is where you just like randomly quiz yourself on it like I did, rather than only going G and C, A and D, where you have to go G and C,
and like bounce back and forth, it kind of makes it up.
So spend a really boring like 5 minutes memorizing those. Notice which ones trip you out, which seem to be A. Like, and just be like, okay, fuck, this one is A. So
this is A.
And this is an example of like this dosage of info is what I want you to complete right now. Stop and do that. Cool. Having done that, we need now, like, let's just talk about sharp and flat. Sharp means I move one up, flat means I move one back. This is G right here. This is G sharp. This is G. This is G flat. Cool. So flat and sharp, whatever we're talking about, just means I'm moving this way and I'm moving that way.
Right.
There's two kinds of chords, and then a lot of different variations on them. Those are like major chords that sound all bright, and minor chords that sound all dark. Just like you were talking about, if you're going to write a sad song, it's very much more a minor chord thing. And you do know all four of these shapes from certain songs, so it's just a matter of like deciding that you know them in a vacuum. This is the same amount of data that we just had on our geography test, just we're thinking about chord shapes. So there's two types rather. There's E shapes, where we're hitting all 6 strings, and so you need to memorize that there's this chord E, or E major, which is a 3-finger chord with your index finger in it. It's on the 4th line on your page. And you know it from this thing where you do your pinky or whatever. And then there's E minor, which is just the 2-finger one. Also, before we get into moving up the neck, you are prone to brain farting those. Minor is this one, the dark one, which is 2 fingers. That looks like a power chord when you move it. Major's the other one. So, now there's a quiz on 2 total things, the chord E and the chord E minor. Pause your video, learn those 2 motherfuckers. Cool, great. So now we're looking at moving them around. If you want, you can start with using the wrong fingers, just so it's easy to picture, which, though that's not something we would ever do actually playing.
When you're down here, you just...
Yeah, you just do it the regular way. But regardless, whatever's working for you, make a bark, and then just make those 2 shapes, you know? So this is a note G, this is a note A. Cool. So this is a G chord, or G major. G minor, G sharp, G sharp minor. Now this guy's called A major, A minor, A flat minor. So just stop and mess around with that. All you have to do are retain 2 total shapes, which one's called major, which one's called minor, and then look at moving them around. And again, this is
going sharp or flat.
Right. And then, which is once you just like stop having any confusion on it, it's not really like a concept that we even have to think about, just like backwards, forwards, whereas major and minor, and describe like how the chord sounds, what notes we're actually playing. Sharp just means that way, flat just means this way. But whatever, like, so, and also keeping in mind that when you get this point in the video, you'll already know G, C, A, D without having to think about it. So, yeah, there's the first type of chords that we talked about. And so stop and just get really comfortable with moving those around. Try to resist the temptation to be like, now I'm going to move down, because that's what we're going to get to in a second. Really, we're just like, this is F, this is F minor, you know? And probably F from a song somewhere. F minor, F sharp, minor, you know? So just stop and spend some time with that. And before you continue, you just have to know this one's E, this one's E minor. That's pretty much all the data we're using right now. And then, you know, when you're doing the bar chords, each one of them starts with a power chord, the way you fret it normally, like 2 fingers like that, and then you do other shit under it. So some of the...
And don't bunch up
Yeah, so some of the things.
And watch my thumb.
Anyway, some of the things we were doing was like, starting with this and then getting. So they all start with this and then other shit. Cool. So just like be really killed, no problem. I get all this before you move on. And at 5 minutes into your video, we talked about like we're gonna learn 4 chords today, and they're chords you already know also. So A chords, and this is the other type of bar chord that we commonly use where we're thinking about just 5 strings being the whole instrument, not the 6th string, but here down. And we're either playing A, which is A major. I'm just gonna go ahead and start saying E and A instead of A major. A major means A, so same thing. So minor would actually sound really good, but A just means A major. So yeah, this one's A major. This one, whatever we're doing. And A minor is this one where you do this stuff in songs. So if we think about moving those around, this is the note D right here, like C and E, and so I'm playing D. E major, I make that A shape with my floppy down ring finger, and that should be the one that's most uncomfortable. Be sure you're not trailing your thumb back at this point, just a reminder. And then D minor, which has nothing to do with D flat or D sharp, is just making it into that A minor shape instead. So
it's the same shape, it's just...
Yeah, exactly. On the capo, I'm playing...
Human capo.
Now we're discussing on the human capo where there's only 5 strings, and you're playing either, A, which is like this shape, or A minor, which is something straightforward. You're used to playing it already. So just stop and without going back to the E-shaped chords, just mess around with that some. So moving those around, memorize which one is which. Again, this is 2 total pieces of information: A and A minor, major and minor. And it's on the page with the same shape stuff. So mess with that a little bit, and then what we're gonna realize is you can play every chord everywhere, like above, up to like the 7th fret or something, because G and C and D. So if somebody broke out a bunch of chord changes, it's like play G minor, like G minor, then play D minor. D minor in the first position maybe, but if they're like, no, I'll play a bar chord, you'd be like, okay, D minor, or D minor, but we don't know that note name yet. So what we just realized that we can play every chord everywhere, just knowing 4 shapes. And there, again, it's E and E minor, A, and A minor. E major and A minor are the same shape, which is potentially like visually brain fart generator, but that's just what's up. They have the same shapes as E major up here, minor down there. So yeah, you can play every chord everywhere, and then the technique stuff we talked about, which, like about 8 minutes in, we started talking about technique for playing your first position stuff. The main thing was we talked about how we didn't want to anchor with your right hand when we're doing these things, so that your brain lets you do percussive things. And before we think about doing too much unpicking, now I'm strumming, we decided that we would just try to hit 2 strings. So play some stuff you normally do, just making a relaxed fist, and like think of it as these little strums. And then try to just throw in 2 notes at the same time sometimes, whether it's downstroke or upstroke. And a suggestion is that you use the open 3rd string, 1, 2, 3. The G string right there for this type of, type stuff you've been doing. It's going to work a lot to be like, throw that in. But either way, just doing stuff where you decide to hit 2 strings at once with both down and upstrokes. And again, don't anchor. That's the whole point of us working on this. So this is our playing stuff for this week, aside from I'm a guy who moves around chords now, and I'm building up muscle strength, is getting used to more of these little picks. And this is us working on your right hand technique without trying to change up your left hand too much at the same time, so you really have adequate focus over there. This is the most frustrating part of learning an instrument, since people every day, is realizing that you don't have to just keep adding stuff, but you have to totally redo things that you thought you had finished. Like I had that whole, I can play chords and pick single notes thing down, and then you realize that you have to totally rethink it. So let's just go ahead and boldly suck and not care, and that's what's up. But yeah, like now you can play every chord everywhere, and that's some shit nobody ever has to teach you again. There's no like lesson 2 on that aside from like here you can take
Just
this
sitting
off
down
and it
and-
becomes there's other like 7th chords and stuff like that, but there's 2 main types of chords, major and minor, and now you can play all of them everywhere because you know how to. If you had unlimited time to figure it out, if I was like play G sharp minor, you'd be like G C A D, okay, B sharp. What is it again? Oh yeah, minor. This one, So this is just a step towards how do I play with people? How do I play anything? This is the part where when somebody just stands a chord changes, you do that. And also, just go back to chords you already know and decide to know them, like G and D and C and shit like that. Like the time I was just thinking about it, those were those chords from those one songs is past, and we're always going to pick chords that are in a zillion songs, and that's why that's why you learn these ones. That's why they came up first, rather than some obscure like jazz chord or whatever. So. Yeah, you just have to assign names to them. Like deciding there's 3 things you learn the name of is no different than walking through a room, meeting 3 people, and deciding you're going to remember their names. We just have this whole like, there's going to be all this other shit I have to think about that doesn't actually occur. We're really just going, that one's called C, that one's called D, that one's called G. What if that was your entire universe, aside from the E and A stuff we were just talking about? So, there you go. Follow along with this.